The Pope traditionally blesses the city and the world twice a year, at Christmas and Easter. And today he focused very much on war in Israel and in Ukraine, also Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. And one of the points he made, among others, calling on the on Hamas to free the hostages held in Gaza, and so bring the war to a speedy conclusion. At the same time that Netanyahu is promising to ratchet up the severity of that war, at exactly the same time that world leaders are calling on a cessation of war and some sort of resolution and pullback. But the Pope also talked about the millions of migrants around the world displaced by war, by persecution, by tribal family troubles, by prejudice. And he talks of people killed in odysseys undertaken in desperation and in search for help, calling these people the little Jesuses of today. Because, of course, Jesus was a refugee and travelled with his family to Egypt, according to the biblical story, to escape the rage of King Herod. And in that he was following in the footsteps of Joseph, who travelled also to Egypt. But it strikes me that our Home Secretary, our current Home Secretary, our previous Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, would much rather Jesus was vilified for taking shelter in a stable. That was a life choice decision, not to have a proper home over his head, and then to be vilified for having been given shelter in what she would now describe as, and what James Cleverly and those people on GB News and Talk TV would now describe as a 5-star stable, a 5-star hotel, together with the animals, the ox and the ass, and presumably the occasional goat. And I think all one has to do is think of the idea of do unto others as you would have done to you, and I think it shows up the failure of the Home Secretary's approach, whoever that Home Secretary has been since Theresa May. And aggression, an aggressive response, does not breed a peaceful solution. I don't think the Home Office is looking for a lasting and honest solution to migration, in the same way as I don't think Netanyahu is looking for a lasting and honest solution, and I certainly don't think Mr. Putin is looking for a lasting and honest solution. We need to urge not only peace but a long-term view of how we are going to coexist, and coexistence, indeed learning from other people, is the way forward. The idea that our lives are going to be compromised and changed by people, by other people coming into them, yes, they are, but for the better, not for the worst. And in terms of the cultural change that we may be experiencing if people come into our country, or if people come into our lives that we didn't expect, that cultural change is inevitably going to be dramatic, but we benefit from cultural change. as we benefited really in the long run from the Normans invading Britain and from the Romans invading Britain. We are a nation of migrants, and we have benefited from the waves of migration that we have experienced. As for Israel and Gaza, both states would benefit from peace. Both states would benefit, and Israel now has a great deal to do to repair the damage that its current prime minister, goaded by its president, have caused. And I think both Mr. Netanyahu and Mr. Herzog will need to resign in the very near future.